a lot of who is the man?
What's going on?
It's Mark. Show you right. I mean, hey, Mark Robinson.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Former Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson in the House, everybody. Not only is he in the House, Mark Robinson is actually a board of directors member. And not only is he a board of directors a member, tell everybody about you. You really ain't got to tell everybody about yourself, but go ahead and tell everybody about yourself, because I can brag about you.
What do you want to know?
Everything. What brought you here? Why are you part of the NRA? What made you stand up all those many years ago and tell those people off?
Well, okay, well, let's just start at the beginning then. So, born and raised in Greensboro, North Carolina, number 9 of 10 kids, youngest boy, my mom's favorite kid. Yes, I was my mother's favorite. I guess what ended up happening was I was working in a factory, been a factory worker for most of my life, working in furniture manufacturing. And, you know, honestly, I had no idea you could buy an AR-15. I really didn't. I was on social media one day, and a friend of mine, his son, was firing an AR-15. I said, "Where in the world are you? Are you at the Fort Bragg, or what is that?" He said, "No, we're at home in our backyard." I said, "Oh, it's a pellet gun." He said, "No, this is an AR-15. I said, "Well, where'd you get it?" He said, "Well, we built it." I said, "How do you build an AR-15? So he explained the process to me and how you could buy one and add things to it. And of course, I immediately got excited. And then, so I started saving my pennies to buy one. Well, as I'm saving my money to buy one, unfortunately, the shooting happened in Florida.
Oh, okay, yes.
Marjorie Stoneman, what was it?
The little boy, this is where we got David Hoggs from.
Yes, okay. Yes, that one, that shooting happened, which was tragic. And, you know, the reactionaries came out, and the first thing they did, instead of looking at the fact that just about every government agency failed the people, from the school system all the way up to the FBI, failed in that situation. Of course, the reactionaries, they jumped to the guns. Take the guns, take the guns. People can't have guns. And so my city council, in all of its wisdom, decided that our Greensboro gun show, which was wildly popular throughout the state, people come from all over to attend, that they would try to cancel our gun show, which I was planning to attend to buy an AR-15. Well, they found out they couldn't, and only the Coliseum director could. So what they did was they had a special meeting. The city council called a special meeting about gun violence, and at this time my political antenna was my radar was up. I knew the code words, the buzzwords, and I knew what that meant. I knew that what was going to happen was they were going to pack that room with anti-gun college kids and high school kids and other folks who were going to come down there and browbeat that Coliseum director and get him to cancel that gun show. Well, you know, I decided, well, I need to go to that meeting. Now, here's the kick. I had to be at work at 6 o'clock that morning. I heard about that on the 5 o'clock news, 5 o'clock in the morning news. Wow. That morning.
And you had to go to work an hour later.
An hour later, I had to be at work for a 10-hour shift.
And then you got off 10 hours and still went there to stand up for your rights.
I certainly did. And, you know, while I was at work, I was talking to people about it. And here's the thing that made me decide to go, really made me decide to go. An individual told me, he said, "Well, if you go, all you're going to do is talk. And talk doesn't do anything."
You did a lot.
And I said, "That's not true."
Right.
You know, the revolution, the American Revolution didn't start with a shot heard around the world. It started with people talking in taverns and at church and at home about ideas like independence and liberty and why can't we have our own country. That's where it started. It started with talk. It started with writing. And so I decided I've got to go to this meeting. And so I did, but didn't plan on saying anything.
What made you get up and go viral? Your whole life changed.
So here's the thing that made me stand up and start to speak. Mm-hmm. I got there and I sat in the audience. And I listened to person after person after person get up and speak. And what happened was people would get up and they would say something and give a little speech. And I think, well, that's the stupidest thing that I've ever heard in my life. And then they'd sit down and then another person would stand up and I'd go,
"Your knee was bouncing, wasn't you?"
No, that's the stupidest thing that I've ever heard in my life. And before long, you know, it just got so bad, I thought it was in a stupid contest. people were getting up talking about all kind of crazy things that had nothing to do with the Second Amendment, had nothing to do with guns. I mean, and it all culminated into a high school age kid who got up in front of city council and made a quasi-dirty joke. And nobody said anything about it. And at that point, I was fit to be tied. I said, somebody's got to stand up and bring some intelligence or something into this meeting. So I got up, I went around, I asked the man, I said, can you still sign up to speak? He said, yeah, fill out that paper and then go up there and stand in that line. So I filled out the paper and I stood in the line. When I got to the line, I said, what in the hell am I going to say to these people? I have not written a speech. I have no idea what I'm going to say to them.
You let God use you.
That's exactly what happened. When it was my turn to speak, something came over me and said, you know, just it's okay. You just be yourself. I'll take care of the rest. And the rest, as they say, I guess, is history.
Not only history, you made history. The former lieutenant governor of North Carolina,
yes,
that never had any political experience ever in his life.
Yes.
He took a leap of faith, and it changed the trajectory of your crossroads and your path. And
yep.
Now you're on the board of directors of the NRA,
yes,
standing firmly up for our Second Amendment
Absolutely.
and our future.
Absolutely.
What do you feel like you're going to be doing after this, besides going home and get some rest?
After this is over?
Yes.
Oh no, there's no rest for the weary. I'll be going home, and I've got a number of contacts that I'll be contacting. One of the things I would very much like to do, like to continue to work with gun manufacturers
yes.
and gun groups
yes.
to continue to fight for, of course, for the Second Amendment, and got a lot of activities on the plate that we're going to do, things that we weren't able to do as lieutenant governor because, you know, we were in office, we weren't able to do.
Do you know now your hands are not tied?
That's right. My hands are not tied and my mouth is not bound by any office, so I can say what I want and do what I want. And I plan to do just that because as you look around in this country, you can clearly see there are a lot of things that are going wrong. Mm-hmm. I mean, President Trump is doing a fantastic job in office. Right now, he's fighting to make changes for the better, but if you look, it's incredible to me. You know, we've talked for years about the government wasting money and wasting taxpayer dollars. And this man and his team have created an agency now that is dedicated to seeing that tax dollars are spent wisely.
And they hate it. And
his colleagues are angry at him. What does that tell you? That tells you that the number one issue in this country, that everyone should be looking at right now is absolutely, the thing that I've been talking about is absolutely true, and it's this. The question is this. How in the world do people go to Washington, D.C. with $2,000 in the bank and in 6 years, 12 years, 20 years, end up with $20 million,
yep.
$30 million,
yep.
$40 million in the bank on $175,000 a year? It's not possible. Nobody's that good of a guru on Wall Street to make that type of money.
We know some people that's on the Hood Street.
That's exactly right.
Flip it, but you know.
That's exactly right. And if you look, those are the folks that are angry at Donald Trump and his team
yes.
for trying to see to it
yes.
that the American taxpayers are not being fleeced. We know who the thieves are because they're the ones that are barking the loudest.
The loudest.
That's the reason why we need to continue to support him and continue to fight for what's right.
You think that America First is going to make a big comeback? And what I'm saying that is that because you got the Democrats and the leftists and the globalists out here hooping and hollering, shouting as loud as possible about globalism, but these same people that help make policies in our nation hates America.
Yes.
And would love to see it burn. You can't rule over ashes.
Right.
That didn't make no sense.
That's right. You can't rule over what you can't live off of or rule over what's already been burned down. But what you can do is you can live off the embers, and that's what they want to do. They want to turn us into the embers that burn to warm them. Certainly not going to be for our benefit. While
right.
we're struggling for survival, they're going to have their hands over the fire that's been created on us to keep themselves warm, and that's their intention, and it always has been. But when you're talking about the American people, and you're talking about America First, the people my age and older, we have watched We have watched our industries be destroyed.
Yes.
For me, in my generation,
How old you are?
it was 56.
Oh, you ain't that. I'm
It
50.
was the textile industry.
Yes.
I can remember the great jobs that people had at places back
My
home
mom,
like
my
Guilford
dad.
Mills and Burlington Industries.
Yes.
And all of that was destroyed by the unions, and it was taken on the global market.
Do you think that was NAFTA?
I know. I think, yes, part of it was NAFTA. A lot of it was the unions driving up wages. And, my question for the unions has always been this. You came down to Georgia. You came down to North Carolina. You came to South Carolina. You went into the textile mills there. Why have you not gone into the textile mills or the mills over in Thailand and these other places where these people are making a nickel a day?
Ooh.
Why are you not breaking into these communist countries and demanding the rights for the workers over there the same way you did in the United States of America? I would submit to you that the reason why they did it here was to get that out of the United States of America and get it onto the world stage. The globalists had a plan all along to take the steel industry, the textile industry, our automobile industry, take it away from America and put it on the world stage.
Yes.
And it worked masterfully. We have a president now that's bound and determined to reverse that. That's why we need to stand up for
Have
him.
you noticed that a lot of these companies are investing back in America by the billions of dollars?
Absolutely. And everybody's complaining, saying, oh, the tariffs are going to make things hard. The tariffs are going to do this. Look, anybody who knows anything knows that the United States is deeply in debt right now.
Yes.
Our national debt should be our number one issue on the table right now is our national debt. If America doesn't start tightening up its belt loops, if America doesn't start looking at maybe giving up some things in the short term for the long term, we're going to end up giving up everything. Financial security depends on having a president that's going to make sure that America puts itself first above everybody else. When the president of the United States holds his hand up when he's inaugurated, he does not promise and swear to defend the Constitution of any other country and the people of any other country except the United States of America. And that's what this president is doing, and that's what every president should do.
You're running for president?
No,
okay.
no.
I'm asking because, but if you were asked to step in a role in his administration or someone else's administration, will you really pray about that?
I already have, and I'm bound.
That was years ago, though.
I'm bound and determined to do whatever I can to help this president be successful. I'm bound and determined to do whatever I can to help any patriot of this nation be successful in any endeavor that's going to bring this nation back to where it needs to be. The foolishness that we're seeing, whether it be the transgender issues of putting men in women's bathrooms or men in women's sports, or whether it be our wide open border, just allowing any and everybody to come across the border, or this absolute insane policy of allowing our economy to be destroyed by other countries and unfair trade practices, all of it has to come to a stop. And it's not going to come to a stop until people start voting right, acting right, and leading right. And when I say right, I mean right.
Right now with Mark. Right on with Mark. Lean right with Mark. I'm going to figure this one
You're
out.
brainstorming.
That's your snippet. That's you want to tell people what you're going to be doing? I know we're going to wait for that.
Yeah, we'll hold that in the bag.
Okay.
We won't announce that yet.
Get right with Mark.
I think they can read.
I
think they can read between the lines on this one. So yes, ma'am.
Get back with the Robinsons. Get right with Robinson. Oh!
I like that one.
I like
that one.
Get right with Robinson. Thank you, Mark.
I like that.
Can we go home now, Mark?
You got it. You better know it. Good to be here with you.
Good. Thank you so much.
We had a great
Mark.
time here at the convention. We sure did.
Everybody, this is the end of the NRA convention. We finna break it down. I don't know how I'm looking there. This is the end of the NRA convention. Thank y'all so much. Like I said, cash out, $ Lucretia Hughes 44. Cash out, $ Lucretia Hughes 44. What I want? LITS. That's what I want now. Just like LITS. All right, everybody. See y'all Monday. Faded to black.
All right, y'all break it down.
We over.
Y'all headed home?
Yes. It's
go. She's on 5 to 7, 9 to 10 p.m. Fallback Productions. Talks about topics of the day and loves her country, the U.S. of A. Got her Get Right rally on tax day. Got family, country, Trump is her thing. She don't know the songs, gives Dave a hard time. Don't worry, it's fine, he's still her Valentine. Keeps us in the loop, don't you know? Sit back and enjoy the Lucretia Hughes Show.